Now, when I get guests into the studio, quite often I receive emails afterwards, and I can remember when I had Lucy Pinder in the studio, and there she was, looking gorgeous, and I received an email afterwards from my next guest saying, any chance of sending on my details to Lucy? I would love to paint her. Well, we sort of have met up finally. Paul Stillwell joins me in the studio. Paul, hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. And can I just say, extraordinarily, with my pirates behind you, and we had to say to you as you came in, it's not a regular day. You have got the most fantastic painting of Johnny Depp.
Yep, I've got a painting of Johnny which he actually signed when I met him at the Sweeney Todd premiere actually in London. I travelled up to London about 5 o'clock in the morning and I arrived
You
at
see that pirates have stood up. They're desperate. Lift it up and show
call,
them,
yeah.
you see. They're looking there. Let me have a look at the Johnny one because you have, well, I mean, I have to say, first of all, could you ever not catch a good shot of Johnny Depp? Turn it around, show the pirates.
Just about every
you
photo
see,
of him
look, big thumbs up coming from the pirate. Look at them. Very excited about
they like that.
You take a photograph, don't you?
Yeah, I basically get a photo off the internet. What I do is I look on the internet who's doing film premieres, book signings and appearing on stage, and then if there's a really big name, I'll get a photo off the internet and I'll paint their portrait, and then I'll go to the venue and try and meet them and ask them to autograph it. So I've been all over the country and waiting for hours and hours, sometimes up to 10 hours to meet some of these people.
Oh, and sometimes presumably they just whisk past you.
Yeah, it's still a lottery if you're going to see them when you get there. But fortunately, I've actually met over about 40 celebrities now, in some really big people like Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Johnny Depp.
Extraordinary.
And,
I've got your catalogue here. And when you first wrote to me, I think I'm right in remembering that you said you started painting when you'd lost your mum.
Yeah, in 2006, my mum passed away and I was very close to her, so it was quite a traumatic time for me. And after a few months, I actually bumped into some artists in the park in Bournemouth and I thought, I'll give that a go because it would be something to focus my mind and
Had you
keep
not
me occupied.
done painting before then?
Well, I'd done a little bit at school, but I didn't get any qualifications in. I wasn't very good. But
Gosh.
And I just decided to buy some canvases and some paints, and I just started painting. And I painted a scene from Lord of the Rings, which was my favourite film at the time. And a friend of mine said, did you know that Elijah Wood was filming his latest film in London? So I said, oh, that's interesting. Perhaps we can go up there and see if I can get him to autograph the painting I'd done of him. So somehow we managed to sneak onto the film set. I can't tell you how, but with a lot of...
No, don't give away the tips.
A lot of cunning, we sneaked onto the film set. And luckily there was Elijah just taking a 10-minute cigarette break.
Meant to be.
And he was very friendly. He said, hi guys, how you doing? And he signed the painting and he posed for a photo. And then the security saw us and chucked us off the film set.
This run really fast.
Yeah, we had to get out there. So, but then that sparked off the idea. Maybe I can do more celebrities and maybe meet more and get more paintings signed. And
so 3 years on from that, when you started off, and a lot of people will, presumably, when you started seeing your work, said, well, actually, you've got quite a bit of talent here, Paul.
Yeah.
You know, you really ought to start perhaps earning your living doing this. But I always have this vision of painters and artists being in the attic of a house, you know, full of angst and not eating much, you know.
That's quite true, actually.
It is. Because it's difficult, actually. It's one of those things, I imagine. It's very hard to actually earn a living at.
Yeah. Well, as I got better with the painting, people did suggest to me I'd make a career out of it, but it's so hard to get known and get yourself out there in the art world. I thought this celebrity thing would be a good angle because it would be a bit of publicity for me. And you never know, maybe one day a celebrity will like a portrait that I've done and commission one from me.
Would that be your ultimate?
That would be my ultimate.
Sat for you?
Exactly, yeah. But you're quite right. I sit at home in my flat painting all day and, you know, struggling to pay the bills and everything, and it's just recently that the career is just beginning to take off.
It is, and that voice that everyone heard in the background is not another pirate's whisked into the studio. It is Karen. Karen, welcome.
Hi,
you are now managing Paul.
I am, yeah. Recently, Paul and his family actually asked whether I would help manage his situation. And as soon as I saw his work, I just couldn't say no. It's absolutely incredible. He's got such raw talent. So, yeah, I'm working with him just about every day and at the moment working on his main book. We've recently published a brochure of all of his work.
Yes, I've got this, yeah.
And I'm working on his main book at the moment. Hopefully that'll be out next year.
And when you say a book about your life so far, or a book full of the photographs? How's it going to work?
Yeah, it's going to be the story of how I got into painting, a brief history of my earlier life, and then what happened to me with Mum passing away, how I got into the painting, and just what I've been telling you really, how I met the celebs, and just kind of like a chronological sort of history of all the celebrities I've met as well.
You see, Paul, I just can see, I'm so glad you've met Karen, because I can see just meeting you in these few moments, you are very self-effacing, you're very modest. And sadly, in this line, in this business, creative business, darling, you've got to be a bit pushy. And if that's not your natural bent to be like that, you have to rely on somebody else to do it.
A lot of artists are very sensitive people, and they need someone like Karen who's
a bit mouthy, a bit forward.
But it's true.
Very confident.
Absolutely.
To help push you, definitely,
Does it feel different now that you're being sort of led by somebody else?
It does, actually. It gives me more confidence, actually. It gives me confidence to come here and talk to you and things like that, which I haven't done before. It's funny because people say, how do I get the courage to go and meet these celebrities? But to me, that feels natural, to stand around and bump into a celebrity and ask them to sign the painting. That seems to flow, and it always goes well. Give or take one or two celebrities, but
sadly, I bet you're not allowed to name those.
I don't know if I'm allowed to. There have been a couple that haven't signed. They refused to sign.
I wonder why that is. Is that because they just are a bit sniffy anyway?
Well,
I think sometimes there were time constraints, weren't there, with what they were doing?
Yeah. One celebrity I met at a book signing in Bournemouth, it was a famous model, and she said the painting was gorgeous, but she wouldn't sign it because she said, you'll just put it on eBay and make money out of it. But I was quite stunned by that. I didn't know how to reply.
And because that'll be my job. Yes, And I get quite irritated by things like that. I really do. Yeah. Paul, we'll have some music. We'll give people an opportunity. If you would like to call 0845 30 39 61. I'm going to ask also Judy to take some photographs of some of your paintings so we can put them on our Facebook page as well, so people can have a look about what we're talking about. Listen, thanks to you, Pirates. We'll come back now to Paul Stillwell. Paul is a fabulous artist. He has got together his brochure. We are going to take a photo of some of his paintings so you get an idea. Do you have somebody in mind when you start? Did you go down a list of people you wanted to do? How did it start off once you'd done the fellowship?
There's literally a couple of websites that I keep an eye on which list film premieres and book signings around the country.
Right, so who's coming
and
is who you'll go for.
I keep a check on who's coming, and if there's a really big name, then I'll pick those and go for it. So there's been some amazing people. Recently Cheryl Cole, who obviously is big news at the moment. Yeah. She was a book signing in London. I did a painting of her, and I went to meet her. And when she saw the painting, she just sat there with her mouth open. And I was sort of saying, "What's going on here?" And so I said to her, "Would you mind signing it?" And then when she spoke, she just said, "Can I have it?" And I was quite shocked, because no celebrity had ever asked me for a painting before. So just on the spur of the moment, I said, "Okay." And so I gave it to her, and it's a big 30-inch painting.
It is. It's a huge one.
Huge painting. So I gave it to her, and I tried to film her taking it, but the security man sort of snatched my camera away. I managed to get a few seconds of it, and incidentally, all the celebrities that sign my paintings, I do get a video of them signing them, and they're all on my website. But so Cheryl took the painting, and then just as I was leaving, she called out to me and she said, "That's going up in my new home." So
that must make you feel right. I've done what I wanted to do.
It really makes you feel you've achieved something. Definitely.
Of course it does. Now I'm looking through your brochure at the moment, and we have to mention Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Because Karen, did you do the same thing? Oh no, he signed across his face.
The real special little bit on his face that makes it Robert De Niro. He signed straight across it.
Because you went back to this painting, you weren't happy with the way his smile sort of curls. He has a little...
He's got a very enigmatic smile, which sets him apart from a lot of other actors. And I spent days and days trying to get his smile right, repainting and repainting. Eventually, I just got it spot on. And then I went to the film premiere in London, and I was standing there with a crowd with my painting hung over the barrier, waiting for him to come along. And he just came along with a big blue marker pen. He wrote his name right across his face, right across the little part that I was really struggling with.
And you think, because we're chatting about it during the break there, and you think it's just that one gets into such a stage of, you just kind of go along. It's like an automaton because you've got so many people to sign things.
Yeah, there's hundreds of fans. They're screaming for your autograph, and they've got pictures and posters and everything. And he might have not realised it was an actual painting. He might have thought it was a poster and just went across it. So.
Now, your favourite, one of the favourite ones, because you also had a meeting, and I would be the same as you, the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
With those amazing glasses. Are they just a kind of not akin with the rest of his face somehow, aren't they? They're huge, great
it's
steel
touch of
rim.
Westernism.
The rims.
Yeah, that was a very special meeting because I've got a friend who's into Tibetan Buddhism, and she said it's almost impossible to meet the Dalai Lama. It's so hard. Anyway, he was doing a talk in the Albert Hall in London, so I did this painting of him, and everyone said, you'll never get that signed. But I believe in positive thinking, and I kept visualising and positively thinking that I'd meet him. And I went to London, I went to the stage door, and as he came out, he saw me with a painting, he waved to me, and then he was quickly rushed into a big security car. But the car didn't go, and a few minutes later a man came out and just came over to me, and he goes,
making me go all tingly telling this story.
It was amazing. He said if you go to his hotel, he'll definitely sign it for you. So he told me which hotel, and it was about a 20-minute walk away. So I ran to the hotel. This is in the centre of London, and I just waited in the lobby. And about half an hour later, the Dalai Lama came down with his bodyguards, and he said, "Oh, hi," and I said, "Will you sign it?" He goes, "Sure," and he signed it, and he wrote his name in Tibetan on it, and he wrote the date in Tibetan on it. And I said, "Can I have a photo with you?" And he said, "Sure," and he was very enthusiastic.
Did you feel the energy? Because people say when you're with him, but I suppose that's not probably the right place. You need to be on retreat somewhere to really experience him. But they say he's very enigmatic.
The one thing I found with him was huge warmth and kindness.
Yeah.
As I was having my photo taken with him, he actually grabbed my hand and held my hand while we were standing there.
How wonderful.
And I actually felt like I was his best friend. He made you feel that way.
I've heard that. I've heard that when people I know have met him. Gosh, I wish I had longer with you, Paul. Tell people about your website so they can have a look again.
Yeah, my website is paulstillwell-art.com. And if they'd like to see any of my paintings, on the 5th and 6th of December, I'm having an exhibition in an open-air art market in Poole High Street. It's in the old town of Poole, down the bottom end of the High Street. And there's a big art market there on the 5th and 6th of December. I'll be there.
Brilliant. There's a text come in. Paula in Horndean. Good luck to the artist. I lost my dad in 2005. I wrote poems about my grief, and I've given some of those away to those in need. Love, Paula. Paula, thank you for that. And have you found it good therapy?
Definitely, yeah. It really keeps your mind focused. And I can actually feel my mum's presence around me when I'm painting, so I'm sure that lady feels the same.
There's a fabulous painting of your mum, which she said your dad very proudly has hung up. And I think, and do you ever see yourself going back to a regular 9 to 5 in any form?
I couldn't possibly ever do that now. I'm really pushing that with the help of Karen, and my dad's been a tremendous support to me over the last few years. And so I'm trying to push the career professionally with it now. Just painting portraits for anybody. If anyone's got a photo of a loved one or even a famous person that they admire, I can paint that.
You can do commission.
Yeah,
well done.
definitely.
You see how much better he's got, Karen?
Absolutely.
You are doing a fabulous job, let me tell you. And we were talking again through the record, and I said to Paul, it's really weird. You wrote to me a couple of years ago, I think it was, and I'd kept your email. And for some reason, I just felt now was a good time. And you said it was very strange because you're such a different place to where you were then.
Yeah.
And, you can just tell how different, how much you've grown in confidence.
Yeah.
So I think it's all the way up now. I really do.
Fingers crossed.
It certainly is.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Paul
you for having
Stillwell,
me. It's been
and also
wonderful.
to you,
Thank you.
Karen.
Thank you.